This is Hidden Killers Live with Tony Bruschi, Stacey Cole, and Todd Michaels.
Let's go and talk about Bryan Kohberger for a bit. In fact, we're going to take a little tour. This is probably the most horrific, like, homes.com tour you'll ever take, or just most unimpressive. I mean, if you were just to look at this apartment, it's more of like an apartment.com tour, and it's not. Just so you know, these are actual photos from the crime scene, or the evidence photos. Obviously, this apartment, not the crime scene. But we're going to take a look. A lot of these have been released over the last week or two. A lot of people have been buzzing about them. We're never going to go and tour the apartment or the home where the murders took place. We're not. But I am curious to take a look at the place where he called home, his nest, if you will. And Robin, I want to go to you and some of your picks first here, because I know you had picked out some specifically that stood out to you and you want to discuss. Let's go to the first one you have here. It looks like we have a birthday card standing right in front of a flat screen TV, a little paneling on the wall there, and a lamp next to it. What stood out to you about this?
All right, there's a few things with this birthday card. There's a couple different shots at it, and I think there's a later shot too of inside of it. Mm-hmm. So what stood out to me on this one was there's writing on it. Yep. Someone personalized this to him, and 11/21/22. Oh my God. So I'm sorry, I'm going to get a little personal here. And I saw that date. I was like, I looked at my wife, said, "Oh my God, you and Bryan Kohberger share the same birthday."
Oh.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Oh my God.
Yeah, no kidding. But what's interesting to me was we had personalized writing in here, and my guess and conjecture is probably from the mom, and so I'm leaning in with that kind of conjecture that we have a birthday card from the mom, and everything we've seen in these little dribs on this card are as we're kind of seeing from what we're kind of getting from her. She is unconditionally supportive of him. And even in this, both of your egos. In other words, she's seeing a duplicity in him, and she's highlighting it, not in a poke at you, hey, you need to work on this way, but hey, both are really good for you. Both, in other words, she does nothing but see the goodness in him.
Yeah.
So that's the first. And also the other thing that stood out to me about this card, and when you take it in the context of the entire place, it is literally the only decoration.
Correct.
There. Which goes to when you look at, so also we have to really take everything with context and sort of a grain of salt, because this apartment not just looks like an apartment of apartments I've seen before of psychopaths, because they're very empty of something that they identify with, because they're just empty shells. And so this apartment's a very empty shell with nothing, but with maybe a little drab, a little data point of the mom there. But also, I mean, I have my kids, when they're in college, looking very much like this, so not a lot of decoration and stuff too. So I don't want to overplay that, that's an apartment of a psychopath. It could just be someone who's there for a shorter period of time that doesn't like having a lot of stuff to carry around and drag around. But it did stand out to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. That card is very interesting. And I think there's a lot of insight to be gleaned on mom. I'm not saying anything negative about mom, but you're exactly right. She really only sees the good in him, which is not a horrible thing for a mom. But if that's the only person that Bryan had as someone to bounce, that would listen to him and absorb him and shoot anything back, that's loving. Critic part isn't there.
Yeah, it's not. It's unbalanced.
Yeah. And it's an interesting that card. There's he's riding a dinosaur, and he's very, it's like, weird. So you're very proper, which he is in many ways. And then you're out of control, like this ravenous dinosaur of rage.
We know he's got rage issues. And so I think she chose that card very purposely. Maybe a subtle hint at that aspect to him. Well, not because, so it's interesting, when we place ourselves in her shoes the best we can, she's trying to maybe give data points and hints at things that you could work on without provoking him to be defensive and shut her down. Because, as a parent, what we try to do is we don't want to behave in such a way that our kids are going to shut us out, especially if she's the only one that he seems to communicate with. So she's probably in a mode where I'm doing all I can to save him. Kind of like your dad is. And so, by doing something to shut him down, it's not going to be helpful. At the same time, can I lay a little thought in here, about the duality here of proper, Theodore Roosevelt of an intellectual. At the same time, you're riding your rage.
Yeah. And that's the balancing act that so many parents have to face so often is the don't get to the point where they're going to shut you out. But at the same point, don't be so passive that you provide zero guidance to those children. But at the same point, that's where the infrastructure needs to be built early on. So they're willing to take the information and listen to it and grow with it and take it in ways that they will absorb it and not have an instinct to run away. But I get it. In some situations like this, where you have a Kohberger and you got a brain that's broken and that's simply the way it's going to work, I can see where if you fear that your child could be capable of doing something horrible and you are the only line of defense between them and doing that, you're in a really tough place because you can't just call the cops and say, I think my kid might be capable of doing horrible shit. He's never done it yet, but here's what I think. Nothing's going to happen. And then if you are pushed out and you are blocked away, then guess what? Society is all that's left between you and your kid.
She's riding hope.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of that. And I think that's why it is important, especially when we are looking at prosecuting parents for the school shooting stuff. Plenty that's certainly needed. If you're buying your disturbed kid weapons, you need to go away too for the rest of your life. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're an idiot, and you're a good chunk of the reason your kid did what they did. But if you have if you can show your track record of I have a ton of empathy for the parents that are just, you got a broken brain over there.
So I keep thinking about this card. I mean, just think about how prophetic that is, that the mother was able to identify, again, if it's the mom that sent it, was I able to identify him riding his rage. And so if you look at the dinosaur represents our reptilian brain, and the reptilian brain is our non-cognitive, non-thinking brain. And that's exactly what that card is symbolized. It's such a symbolic thing because that's exactly what he wound up doing. He was in such a fit of rage when he went and to murder those children that he was riding his rage. Yeah. And then it's funny. And that's the thing he has on display in his apartment. It's crazy.
Isn't it creepy? Yeah. I mean, when you look at him, he looks like an autistic lizard. I mean, when you talk to him,
goodness,
he does. I mean, he operates in such a reptilian way. He really does.
100%.
And I think there's a lot of weird things connected in that card. And I don't think his mom thought that deep on getting it. I'm sure it was just in the Walgreens, like, which one should I get him? Oh, little Bryan liked dinosaurs when he was little.
But it may have resonated with her. Something might have clicked that
on a deeper level.
This is the perfect card for my boy. And maybe she didn't know why, but it just jumped off the
It's exactly him though. He's trying to be the professor, but he's got this massive rage issue, which was part of his life arc that everyone kept talking about. And we saw with 77 stab wounds. That is not someone who's being controlled, meticulous and thoughtful. This is someone who's in a fit of rage because something didn't go the way he wanted or was planning on it going. So he lost his shit. Yeah. So and that card shows someone trying to control their shit.
That's the most insightful look at this card that I've heard from anyone yet, Robin. That was good. Boom. Yeah. Boom. You get the viral moment of the day.
Riding the rage.
Yeah, people are going to be talking about your take on that card because that is a very interesting take. I agree. What's another one that you had picked out from the home choice here?
So let's keep on the card one more time. I feel bad. I'm going to make Todd jump around. So if we look at the inside of the card, that is, I wrote these things down too. There it is. Look at that. Okay, so look at that smiley face on the inside of the card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now go to photo 644. So look at that smiley face. See the horizontal, vertical eyes?
Yeah.
Look at the outside of the office door.
It's the same eyes.
So this just is more confirmation bias of that's Bryan Kohberger's office. I'm not sure who wrote that on his office door, but isn't it interesting that it actually mirrors exactly the only other thing he saw of a sign of endearment from someone about how to show kindness, show that I'm open, show that I'm there. So it was just interesting to me. And the smiley face, the edge of the mouth is a little bit different there, but I saw the eyes, the vertical eyes being very similar. So again, Bryan has shown, or Kohberger or BK, whatever we want to call him, so not humanize him, has shown that he is nothing but a copycat. And so this is just another example of him trying to be a copycat in an area that he had zero skill, and that is to try to make a welcoming place.
Yeah.
If he wrote that, if he did the hello.
Again, pure conjecture.
He doesn't, it doesn't.
That's not his writing. Hello is not his writing.
No. What I want, here's another take on it. If it's not him, it's somebody that knew just how off-putting Bryan Kohberger was, and he did share this office with another person. He shared it with a woman who has, I don't know, she was going to testify, but she had some of her testimony or her accounts of Bryan have come out in this, and they did, they got along somewhat more than him and most other people. But I do wonder if she put that there because she knew Bryan was so off-putting that it was like, I got to put a little extra, carrot on a stick out here for people to come in.
Say help.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, I mean, maybe that was like that. It should have said help, but it said hello, more like welcome. Come on in, please. Don't keep me alone in this room with this creepy man. I could see that being that as well.
Or just I see the vertical eyes as the link. So maybe he had that card and brought it to work to show her that someone actually did care for her. I don't. I just saw it in an unusual way for eyes to be drawn that I don't see all the time. And I saw the link between the two, so that's what drew me to it.
I could see it. I mean, it's
something to it. Maybe not.
It's hard to know. It is, but it does make you think a little bit. What other ones?
Riding the rage.
What other pieces have stood out to you here so far?
So the only other thing that really stood out, because everything kind of blended together as just being very kind of typical. The thing that was alter egos, 210, photo 210 was, I thought the comment on here was pretty telling as well. And this is at the bottom, only answer the question asked. So his writing style, again, there's so many photos and so much.
Let me ask you quick. Is this a critic? The part that's in handwriting here, is this from his professor criticizing his writing, or is this a paper he's grading and it's his writing?
That's what I was wondering too.
I don't know. It was hard to tell. So I'm thinking, so here's how I took it. I took it as
it's not his handwriting. So I'm guessing and I think the paper itself earlier said Bryan Kohberger.
Yeah, I think it's a paper he wrote. And I found the answer, it down there is being very telling of him. And that is answer the question asked. So he writes and shares information to pontificate, to display his intelligence, because when he doesn't know something, he'll just keep doubling down on, I'll overwhelm them with information. This goes to what I keep saying, and a lot of people keep saying, is that he's not intelligent. He just has a lot of words. He fixates on things. And so this is an example, I think, of him just fixating and not answering a question that's being asked because he knows better than the professor is actually asking the question. Here's what you really meant to ask, and I'm going to give you this. So I found that just kind of just another just data point, telltale sign of what he tends to do is overshare information that wasn't even asked.
Wouldn't you love to see a paper of his that he put notes on? Because after seeing the way he wrote out that stuff in prison and how illegible and horrible looking that was, I mean, this looks like a professor's that graded this for him. I would love to see what those looked like if somebody has a graded paper from Kohberger, because we have heard stories where he was very hard, would go over the top on notations to the female students. I really wonder what those papers looked like.
Yeah, me too. And Teresa put a great comment there that it could have been a birthday card from the coworker, not the mom. Boy, that'd be interesting.
That's true, because that would be the similar.
Similar smile.
I'm pretty sure that was the one from the mom. I could be wrong. I could very.
I'll tell you, if that is actually, if he put it on display at home, that would be pretty incongruent, actually. But it'd be interesting if he put it on display at home, a birthday card from his coworker.
Mm-hmm. Was there another card from mom in that? I didn't see another card.
I didn't see another card either
in the whole mix. So I could be wrong, and I know that one of the cards was from mom.
And Teresa, interesting thought though. I hadn't considered it from anyone else, because again, we haven't seen him have actually a connection with anyone that he would actually, at least from my context, that he would actually display anywhere except the mom.
Yeah. Any other pieces from the Kohberger home tour that stood out to you, Robin?
No, because the whole thing just kind of blended together for me. Everything I saw was what you didn't see. What you didn't see was personality. What you didn't see was anything except taking care of business. And his business was study. That was it. 100%. That's all that I saw.
Let me ask you about this. The utter amount of disarray in the home. I mean, it was a messy house. I mean, and we've been thinking about this guy as very rigid, very OCD, we've heard his diagnoses and all that, but there was portions of it was very empty. I mean, it looked like basically like you were staying there for a week, not like you were living there. But there was some really messy spots where it was just piles of stuff. I mean, it looked more like an average, I guess, space where a late teen, early 20 college male might be staying that has no interests and rarely comes home.
Yeah. So and thanks for reminding me of that, Tony. So our good friend Jennifer Coffindeffer really pointed out that this is not the apartment of someone with OCD. Mm-hmm. So my thought process of him being OCD, definitely not that. But at the same time, though, both my kids have way messier places than that was. So I didn't find it
true.
Really out of a norm for someone living by themselves. Mm-hmm. It was kind of congruent. But what really struck me, though, which I think goes to his planning, disorganized. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really, he will fixate on one thing and do that one thing really, really well, like cleaning up after himself after he, committed these horrible murders, which is like the only thing he did well. But everything else was complete chaos, because you saw from the apartment, there wasn't a lot of structure and order to what he was doing. It was kind of all over the place, and his brain, just a chaotic brain. So chaotic brain, chaotic place. There was no organization to how he had his books, to how his papers were stacked. There's no organization to it. It was all there, but it was shotgunned. And so that's what really struck me as well, which kind of gives the same data points of how he did what he did. He had an idea of what he was going to do. It didn't play out the way he thought it was going to play out, and it went into chaos.
He does have OCD, though. I mean, that is part of the diagnosis. He's autism level 1, OCD, ADHD, and ARFID. What's it? I mean, it's not usually something you turn on and off. That's the weird thing about Kohberger. Or is he mimicking someone with OCD?
Yeah, everything with him's a mimic. Everything's a copycat. There's not one original thing coming out of him. I don't. Maybe his breathing.
the ARFID, that's the one about the food where it's he has difficulty eating out of pans that have cooked meat and all that sort of insanity. Yeah. I wonder where that one came. I mean, I know like a lot of his friends have said that kind of came in when he lost all that weight when he was a teenager. But I wonder what the influence was. What was it that struck him that said, it's a good idea that I only eat meat from a pan that's only cooked or only eat vegetables from a pan that's never touched meat? Where did that idiosyncrasy come in and say this must be the best way to do it?
I think, to me, it just gave him a different thing to fixate on. And so he was getting some sort of emotional stimulation from it. He's probably being emotionally rewarded for losing weight. So it actually, it was self-perpetuating feedback loop on it. Just why I think he got into criminal justice, because he had that one professor, Ramsland, who said, hey, you might be halfway good at this. Oh, really? I'm all in. So I think when we get rewarded for something at an early developmental age, And we have loving critics like his dad trying to shift from meth to healthy eating. I mean, that could probably do it.
Yeah.
What a weird conundrum. I've studied animal welfare and behavior in my graduate studies, and people who tend to be vegetarians, it's yes, for health reasons, but a lot of it is for empathy for animals. So to see this man fixated on, I cannot eat meat. And one of the pictures that I wanted to highlight was a Safeway receipt where he spent, was it like $20 some on fake meat product?
Right.
I mean, he's really leaning into the vegetarian lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And yet look at what he did to living creatures. It's just this weird paradox of what the fuck did he do?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't because he loved animals. Nope. I think it's a fad. I think it's a fixation because he fixates. He fixated on criminal justice. He fixated on these serial killers. And so I literally just think his vegetarianism is fixation. I don't think it's anything more than just his broken brain trying to do something that stimulates it in some way.
Then he fixated on fake meat and said, I wonder what all the fake meat tastes like.
Yeah.
Although I've done that before at the store.
He was getting positive attention for losing weight. And so it came down to that.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Bruschi and the Hidden Killers podcast.